Welcome back to Spitballin Cards. In today's video, you have three of us. Ty is out for some family stuff. We'll let him announce all of that when he gets back if he would like to. But in this episode, you have me, Scott, Phil, and Jeff. I think Chris is doing family stuff too this week. So
he is, yeah. He's out on the East Coast.
Yeah, a couple Spitballers hanging out with family, which is great. But in this video, we want to talk about Whatnot and how dumb things have gotten at Whatnot and our thoughts around that whole situation. Before we do, we tentatively have an announcement. Is that the right way to say it? We're considering something. We're thinking about doing a Spitballin Cards membership. And what that's going to entail is we'll still have 2 videos a week like we currently do with Spitballin Cards, but we're going to have a third video every single week that's a lot more analytical, a lot more granular, diving into stuff where we can be more honest about our specific thoughts and feedback on players and sets, as well as a monthly live stream where we will be answering just questions the whole time for people who are part of the membership. And our goal is to be able to make more content, and this will help us justify the time in making more content and to get to know everybody in our community better. So if you're interested in that, let us know if that's something you would like and if you'd be willing to join. We're thinking like $10 a month. Just let us know your thoughts below if you might want to do that, and we'll make it happen if you're interested. But with that being said, guys, let's jump into Whatnot. Phil, do you want to give us a quick summary of what's going on?
Which part? So
take it back to the start, Phil.
Yeah, so with Whatnot, there's been a few things related to. People have been asking me not to talk about TCG on this channel, but I guess you're forcing me to now because the latest 2 scandals, if you want to call them that, involving a couple sellers, live sellers and whatnot. The first guy, giveaways are very much at the center of the culture of Whatnot. You're really encouraged to do it. It's not like you don't have to do it, but you've got a lot of people just like loitering in your channel, just hanging out there trying to get some sort of giveaway, which I don't necessarily agree with. But if you do decide to give a giveaway and run the randomizer, and the person that wins it hasn't bought from you before and doesn't plan to buy from you, you don't even recognize their name, you have to give them the item. And it's almost like free content. It's marketing. It's like, look at me, look what I just gave away to somebody. Maybe you, pointing at other people in the audience and actual buyers and regulars of this person's platform, you can win something too someday. Unfortunately, the seller was upset and he gave away it's called a demigod pack, which is like a loaded pack of prismatic evolutions, one of the latest sets from Pokemon, the latest set. And he crumpled up the cards, which are worth hundreds of dollars, which is unfortunate. So you've got the giveaway winner who is the rightful owner of that property, and now it's damaged, and it's done so on a recorded stream. The second story that I heard about was maybe a day or 2 ago, and it was someone who was selling resealed Evolving Skies packs. So these are like $30 Pokemon packs, product that came out about 4 years ago, and it's got the Moonbreon in it as a possible hit card that a lot of Pokemon collectors really like. It's sort of like the GOAT of the ultra modern era at this point. And
it's worth like $1,500 raw right now.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a good looking card. What happened was when he was opening packs as part of the rip and ship on the platform, what was inside this Evolving Skies pack were cards that you can find at the dollar store. So Evolving Skies packs, you can't find those sealed at any retail location. You know, it's out of print. But there is the possibility that this seller bought the packs from people that sold him a lot of packs. Like, that's the difference between sports and whatnot. With me, as someone who has a subscription product that's baseball card oriented, I have to source the cards from actual hobby boxes. I have that disclosure on my website. I'm not just going to buy loose packs online. With Pokemon, it's a little bit different. It's harder to kind of game the system, although you can weigh. There is a little bit more acceptance to someone who buys from a reputable person a lot of packs. I don't think that's what happened here. I think this is just an outright scammer. The pack just looked funny from the start. And what was inside were these like Halloween cards that you can find, again, at the dollar store.
Oh, really?
Like, literally like the cheapest Pokemon cards you can find. Probably cheaper than what it would cost to buy a Happy Meal to get those cards from McDonald's. So they had like those little like pumpkins on them. And then the seller was like, really? This is the thing? These are in here? What's going on, chat? I'm so confused. So that seller either deactivated himself or got booted by Whatnot. There seems to be a lot of stuff going on here. And I think it all goes back to one of the issues of how Whatnot perceives themselves versus what others perceive them as. When I go use eBay, right? And if I'm going to get scammed by a seller, I want some protection from the platform. I know there's some protection from the platform, right? It's in the terms. With Whatnot, they have their language written where they're just like a third-party platform. And if you get screwed by a seller, like you as a buyer, you have to go after that seller and sue them. You can't seek recourse from Whatnot.
And even then, Phil, I don't think you know about this potentially, but Whatnot officially turned off the ability to replay streams. That's like the bigger issue, right? Because we have this stuff happening with these sellers who are scamming people. And now I think Whatnot's response to them constantly being in negative news cycles is we'll just turn off all ability to record. And it's just like, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. What if I miss my stream where I spent $1,000, so I'm at work and now I can't see it? So I think that even makes it a bigger issue because it's even easier to scam people and you don't have proof. There's no proof anymore, which is a problem.
I was going to say, I think they've couched it too as a customer service, like a good thing that they're taking away that the videos. But I think it's pretty transparent what they're doing. And the ones Phil mentioned, this is on top of the other recent TCG resealing pack scammers we've seen, where the guy's cutting open the top but cutting it open horizontally but opening it vertically. So there's just it just seems the hits just keep on coming for Whatnot. So I think that the fact that their response to this bad word of mouth and bad customer service is to take off the videos. It just seems like they're trying to dig themselves an even deeper hole, but it doesn't stop people from going.
Their response to negative publicity is like, fine, you don't deserve to have the videos. You guys are so dumb. I can't at this point. Like I actually, at one time I did a partnership with Whatnot that was very quick because they gave free boxes of cards to my audience. And then every referral sign up I had, I gave that money to people who couldn't afford sports cards for Christmas. And that's what I did. People were really upset. And I was like, why are you upset? I don't understand. I'm doing something good for my community. I get it now. I absolutely get it now. And it's one of those things where they do reach out to probably all of us and want us to do partnerships with them. But like, I don't know how you could partner up with them right now in good faith. Like just with everything going on, I haven't seen one positive Whatnot experience in a minute. And again, this is all our opinions. And so we don't have the facts of why they turned off the video. So Whatnot, don't come at us. But it's one of those things where the perception of it is very bad. I don't know how they can try to spin this positively.
Well, it's probably a way to cover up liability and to maybe prevent all of the negative publicity that they're getting, right? Because you have all these internet detectives that all of a sudden can't get a jump on the news as quickly if this happens. Having said that, though, I've used other platforms as a seller, like Loop, and they don't make it easy for you to get footage as a buyer. I don't think it's even available at all. I think Whatnot was one of the few that actually had it readily available. So I'm not saying that, Loop's worse, because Loop doesn't have these issues, but they have a fraction of the sellers, right? And I do think that there are a number of good sellers on Whatnot.
Totally.
But unfortunately, Whatnot's created this situation. And that's why I was talking about like how they remove all liability from themselves. Like they're creating the illusion of a safe marketplace, but it really is the Wild West where there's no rules and you're out for yourself. So on YouTube, if I was to buy from a rip and shipper, I would only trust someone I knew. You should have the same mentality on Whatnot. You should be only going for the accounts, like people that you know. Who do I have a pre-existing relationship? Who do I know from some other platform? Who's trustworthy? Who maybe has a physical store? But unfortunately, a lot of people don't get the memo that when they sign up as a buyer, there's fine print saying like, no, like we're not going to protect you at all. But it's confusing. So Whatnot tries to play like the whole like, oh, I'm just an independent platform like YouTube, right? So if I got scammed from someone selling me crypto pics on YouTube, I can't go after YouTube as a platform. I have to go after that creator. So Whatnot's trying to do the same thing. But unfortunately, Whatnot is different than YouTube. And I was trying to think about this. Whatnot's transactional. again, it's a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
You can get scammed so much easier on a Whatnot than you would on YouTube because people are going there to spend money, right? It's transactional. It's very, very different. And Whatnot also has a way to weave themselves into things like the return policy, the refund policy, where they jump in. They're the collection agent, right? Like the buyer doesn't pay the seller directly. The buyer pays the Whatnot, and they hold the money, and the cars get delivered, and then the money gets dispersed. So Whatnot, in my opinion, whether they did it conveniently or maybe they did it over the years to allow themselves to distance themselves legally from backyard breaks and other people abusing the platform, they've created a cesspool right now. And it's disgusting what's happening because you've got sellers on there that know exactly what they have, right? With the leverage, they can even stay on the platform if they want to. Nobody's going to come after them, and nobody's going to pursue a small claims case if they get scammed 300, 400, 500 bucks. There's a reason why it happens over and over, right? And then you have this culture of giveaways that just pisses people off. And I'll be honest, when I was a seller on the platform, my first day, I printed 11 shipping labels as a result of my first night's work. 10 of those labels went to people that I invited myself to the stream because I did some cross promotion on YouTube, etc. The 11th was the giveaway winner that I had not recognized. So, I mean, but it's all part of the culture, right? There's people that loiter for giveaways. You can't be destroying people's giveaways. I get that you're upset, but you shouldn't voice that. I mean, this is a business. The internet's forever. And when you damage somebody's property, now you're a scammer yourself. So it's hard to just blame Whatnot because the tech is solid. To be honest, they weren't even the first mover. Loop was there first, right? And Whatnot stole their lunch. And, Loop wasn't first to the live auctions. They were more of like a virtual store. They didn't really do much breaks except for like personals at first. And then Whatnot really found, a way to attract a lot of customers. Unfortunately, a lot of the wrong ones, especially with the sellers. So
I will say we have the alternative of Fanatics Live. I'm looking at the websites now. I'm not going to share my screen, but Fanatics Live, their highest viewed rooms are 42 people, 43 people, 39 people. Whatnot currently has rooms of 279 people, 217 people, and 128 people that I can see. Oh, there's more. There's more than even that for Whatnot if you scroll down. But my point is, even though like Fanatics may be a safer thing, I've never heard anything negative about Fanatics Live. I've never used either of the platforms all that much. But people are still on Whatnot. So I don't know if the solution is we say, okay, Fanatics Live is just better because they're less likely to get scammed because there's a higher bar of entry for them. I don't know if that's even true. Maybe that's Whatnot's solution. Instead of just making it so no one can prove they got scammed by deleting videos, which doesn't make any sense in any way, maybe you just have a higher bar for who can sell on your platform. Maybe that's what you got to do.
Yeah, but look at that bottom line. Like you said, those rooms are still being filled. So I don't know. Maybe Whatnot doesn't even see all this as a problem. In fact, they're ever since the backyard breaks issue, as well as these other things. And remember, Blake's breaks, was that last year or the year before, Phil?
Oh, the football player.
Yeah, the football player. I don't know. Maybe all of this publicity is no such thing as bad publicity for Whatnot. Everybody's talking about Whatnot. We're talking about them again on this channel. And so it doesn't seem to deter any of their customers. So I don't know what impetus they really have to change.
Yeah. So their orientation process, the difference between them and a Loop. Loop, it was a one-on-one sort of like, let's get to know this guy. Like, I'm going to assign someone to answer all your questions and help work you through the first few streams, and somebody that's going to be online with you for your first few streams. Whatnot's process is you show up in a there's like an hour-long meeting with 70 other sellers that all get onboarded at the same time. And then towards the end of the stream, somebody yells, "Let's go!" That actually happened. So that they don't, at the time especially, maybe things have changed. This was like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't know. But at the time, they did not care. They wanted numbers of people. And even though they're only going to promote a small percentage of those, and 95% will fail. To them, I think it was a numbers game. Let's get as many people in here as possible, and then the buyers will come. And it was some sort of working formula for them. As far as why they're doing well against Fanatics Live right now, it's a good question. I don't know enough about Fanatics Live to have a pulse on that. I would think that you would get the advantage of cheaper pricing, because the Fanatics Live breakers are going to get literally the cheapest product pricing with those direct relationships with tops than anybody else will in the game.
All right. Well, I think that's enough whatnot talk for the channel history. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Hopefully it's not something that we have to keep talking about in a negative way. It'd be nice to know that they're making some positive changes, but time will tell.
I think the biggest takeaway, like Phil said, don't buy from people that you don't really know much about, because it's easy to lose money. It's pretty simple. Most likely you'll get your cards because you won't pull anything good, but the chance you do pull something good, there's a higher probability of you not getting your cards back. So don't buy. If you go to Whatnot, like the thing is, Whatnot, like I'm looking at KK Sports Cards right now, who is a very trusted brand, really great card shop, right? Like you could totally buy from him safely, but at the same time, there are sharks in the water there. So just be careful. If you like Whatnot, that's great. Just be careful. So
think about all the people that have gotten away with scams, like the people that have bought into breaks or whatever, gotten scammed and just didn't know. That's the really sad part about this, is all that.
That's
all
going to
that
be
scam.
way worse now, dude. If someone gets I don't know if people on Whatnot can see who joins their breaks, but if someone doesn't join and it's not recorded, how will that person know if nothing ever gets shipped to them? Like, it's going to be even more that problem now than ever. There's going to be a lot of scams, and this is encouraging the scammers of not having these recorded, because nobody can see the actions of the scammers.
Yeah, I think there's always a way to get like a little clip.
Is there?
Yeah, if you actually made a purchase, you'll have like a personal clip sent to you. I don't know what that covers. And if you think about all the different like ways, there's like auctions that where like you're determining which team you have, and then there's the actual transaction if you're buying like a card and a timed auction or whatever. Like I don't know what that footage encompasses, and there might actually be a workaround for sellers to still have their stuff recorded. I think if you tag your live stream as a break, I think it automatically records for the masses still.
What else is on there besides live breaks? Live selling? Is that the distinction? Live selling is on there and that wouldn't be recorded?
Yeah, they have live, I guess. Like they have the live streaming where they basically do auctions on Whatnot.
Right. So,
but like if you're not in the room, I don't understand how that would be an issue. So maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean,
because you can't bid on something if you're not in the room. You see if you want it.
Yeah, but what if they're selling these resealed packs and then somebody gets them and they see that they're all shit, and I don't know. There still could be a lot of fraud given the way that a lot of these guys act on Whatnot.
All right, if you want to sign up for Whatnot, use our. Just kidding, we don't have a code. But with that being said, enough Whatnot talk. Let's talk about cardboard consensus. All righty. I think, Phil, you have one. Jeff, did you have one this week?
I've got one too, yeah. But
I got one. All right, Phil, let's hear yours first.
Mine has to do with some of the ongoing rumors about the Doge, Department of Governmental Efficiency thing that they're doing in Washington. And there's some rumors about stimulus checks that, this isn't close to being formalized, but stimulus checks of up to $5,000, potentially a little bit more per person or per household, which is quite a bit more than we got, I think, than what most people got in 2020. So we saw what happened last time with the stimulus checks and how that was a boon for hobby values. And of course, there were reasons beyond that. But my question or statement is that stimulus checks would give a massive jolt to the hobby. 5 would be you strongly agree. 1 strongly disagree. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. You got a 4, Scott.
Short term. I mean, yes, people would spend the money because they're unable to control themselves. I think there would be when we say jolt, I'm thinking of a literal jolt. I'm not thinking of long-term growth. I think we would see a lot of cards on eBay sell, and I think they would sell through. And I do think we'd have inflation, even though like there's probably economic principles of how the money was already spent and it's saved, so it doesn't really matter. Still think there'd be some inflationary consequences of all of this. So I do think there would be a jolt in the hobby. I think jolt in all sorts of collectibles, like we've seen with disposable money, people will buy what they want to buy. We don't have the foresight to save as Americans. So yes, I do think there would be some.
What about you, Jeff? You gave it 2?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But the one big difference from those last stimulus checks is that was COVID times as well. So people were kind of locked in. There weren't a lot of ways to spend money besides buying collectibles, especially cards and stuff online. I feel like that money's going to get spent, but now people could actually afford to go to a Dodger game with that money, or go to dinner and movies, or go to Disneyland. So I don't think it's going to have as direct of effect on the hobby as the last stimulus checks did. So maybe a little bit of a bump, because there's people like us maybe that would use it on their hobby, but I think a lot of people would find other ways to use their newfound wealth. So
I truly believe your Shohei Ohtani cards would go up in value because people would finally be able to afford a decent rookie card of his. But I do think there would be consequences. Yes, I think you're right. I think you make a great point, Jeff. But there's just a lot of people in sports cards who have a little bit of a grail that's just slightly too much. Maybe it's $2 or $3 grand, and they finally get 5K, and they can justify 2 to 3 grand out of the 5K because it's only half. And then all of a sudden, that card would never have been purchased. Now it was purchased. So I don't know. Phil, you were 3. You took the middle ground.
Yeah. And the reason why is because I do see Jeff's points, and I do agree with a lot of them, in that with COVID, it was more than just the money. It was people rediscovering something that they did when they were younger, and something you can do from home. And that's buying cards and not going on expensive vacations and traveling and whatnot. This is a lot of money. There is a great chance that this money gets spent, especially if they put rules around who gets the money and how much you get based on different income brackets. The people that need to save the money the most are going to be the ones that spend it fastest, right? There's going to be guaranteed velocity of this money. It's going to go out in the economy. However, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, in 2020, the baseball card market was very healthy. You started to see an upward movement in a lot of players' prices before this happened. This is a completely different part of the cycle. So like you look at the market, if you pull the market out of the hobby, out of the industry, like the market of cards right now, it's a little depressing, right? Some cards are going up, a lot of cards aren't. So I think that the sentiment when the stimulus checks come, I think that's important. And I think that'll drive money to the hobby, but it's more likely to be spent on breaks. The more kind of successful happening part of the hobby right now, then it's likely that the money will be spent on singles. I think if folks are looking to like park money or invest it into assets, they'll pick something outside of the sports card segment, maybe outside of collectibles entirely. So that's why I gave it a 3. I think the hobby gets a jolt. The industry gets a jolt. Do single prices get a jolt? Maybe small, but the breaking stuff could really get out of hand. Wax prices could go higher.
Do you think Bitcoin gets bigger boost than sports cards?
Yeah,
I do
probably.
too.
And it could collapse before the stimulus checks even come out, because Bitcoin's up quite a bit over the last recent months.
It's down today because apparently there was like a $1.5 billion hack or something today. So it's down to 92,000 right now.
Ooh, that's like that critical support level.
This is the time it tips. I don't know. I think something like that could also be benefit. I see your point, Jeff. I didn't even think about that. But I still think we would see a spike. Is it a big spike like COVID? Probably not. But I could justify, I could try to, like, in my mind, justify myself buying it, even though I shouldn't be buying sports cards with stimulus money. So, okay, let's hear your baseball cardboard consensus, Jeff.
Okay, so my cardboard consensus statement is this. Because we now know that the Black Parallels will be back in Series 2, the 2025 Series 2 wax will be the best Series 2 product of the last decade.
Oh,
Now,
decade's a big word.
decade's a big word, and I'm talking about at release. So when we look back, yes, there's some benefits of late Series 2 entries for tops, but usually when Series 2 gets released, it's kind of a dud product.
You know what's sad? When I was thinking decade, I was like, 2011's way better. Like that's
2011.
Yeah, like but how old am I?
We're old.
So
Yeah.
let me get your cardboard consensus straight. 'Cause there's a couple moving parts. First one, this is just for Series 2 product or all flagship?
Just for Series 2 product, because
Just
Series
for
2 is
Series
kind of people look forward to Series 1. People really look forward to update typically, but Series 2 is kind of just ignored. It's because it comes out as football's getting closer. There's just not a lot of juice to it usually, but I feel like, or I'm asking if with the return of the Black Parallel, will we see a change in that essentially? So whereas the last several years, Series 2 has just been overlooked when it's come out, are we really going to see a difference this year or not?
And this is just short term, right in the moment, interest in the product. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Count us down.
So 5 is, yes, you agree it'll be a hot product. 1 is still going to be garbage. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
I think it's going to be a big product.
Wow, 1 to 5. Wow. All right.
This is awesome. I think it's fantastic because you're going to, honestly, between mine and Phil's perspective on wax, should definitely go on Phil's side than me, by the way. Phil makes me nervous with my answer. But I think that there is already hype for Series 2. I've never heard hype for Series 2 aside from really the bat down Acuna in 2018 and the Ohtani rookie in that product. Maybe 2020 Luis Robert. Maybe we had the Julio Rodriguez in 2022 short print. That was actually pretty hyped up. But the product wasn't all that expensive then. I could see these being more expensive because you have all of the black parallels from the first set with some decent rookies, especially if James Wood plays well. And then I think we're going to have a better rookie class in Series 2. I could totally see it becoming more of a chase than we've seen in the past. Usually by that time, you're waiting for Chrome. You don't care about Series 2.
Yeah, usually gets lost in the shuffle. All right, Phil, you said 1. Hot garbage, Series 2.
Yeah. Maybe the way you phrased it at the end, maybe I change it to 2, but 2019 was a big deal. Series 1 was awful. They actually
Series 2 had the Vlad, didn't it, in 2022?
Yeah, so 2019
and the
with
top
Series 1, they missed the short prints from the jumbo packs.
Sorry, Siri, my phone app thought we were talking to her.
Got it. Series 1 in 2019, I'm pretty sure they had an issue where short prints, image variations were left out of the jumbo, and the regular hobby sucked. There was like nobody to chase. Kyle Tucker's okay, but he was a late bloomer. Nobody cared at the time, really. So when Series 2 came out, Pete Alonso already had probably like 20 home runs, right? He was on the brink of breaking it came out in like early June, but you know what I mean. He ended up breaking the National League rookie home run record. Fernando Tatis, this is before we deemed him injury prone, a cheater. He had a massive year. His true rookie was in that product. And then Vlad Guerrero had that short print. Well, we thought it was a short print. Then it turned out that Scotty B told us that they created probably like 80,000 of them or so of the no number.
Yeah.
Vlad card, even though he didn't have other parallels in that product. And of course, Eloy Jimenez was massively hyped. So that's like at time of release. And if you look at like years later, 2018 Series 2, Scott brought that up. Not only do you have the bat down Acuna, but you have Ohtani's most desirable today. There was most desirable flagship parallel.
But that wasn't that way at the time.
Yeah, so that's why I covered like 2019 at the time, 2018 now. I mean, that's a product I would buy at $400 right now. But like if we just make this about 2025 Top Series 2, I don't know if black parallels are enough. I mean, I was wrong when I thought that, 24 Topps Chrome update, that having 3 times as many MLB debut patches, like it's not that big of a deal, and it was, but a lot of that had to do with Skeens and the bounty, clearly, in addition to just better names overall. And that's a completely different animal, right? Those are MLB debut patches that sell for $5,000 to $30,000. Black parallels, we've talked about on this channel how they've struggled to kind of gain in popularity. Now, if you're dealing with like a very limited rookie class on top, even if you take the Series 1 names, which is also limited, so you've got James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Kobe Mayo, handful of others, Spencer Schwellenbach for Chris. I don't know if we know enough at this point to know if that's going to be a banger. Like now, like knowing what I know about the black parallels being included, would I pay more than $5 what I would have paid otherwise for one hobby box? No, maybe like $5, because I mean, to our viewers' credit, black parallels don't get hit by many people, anyways.
But this
It's
is
really
the
hard to
one
hit a gold now.
But think about it, right? Instead of having 350 or 320, whatever it is now. What is it now? 250, 300,
330? I don't know.
330. They changed it relatively recently, but instead of having that, you have double the chances. This is the first time we have like 2000 mid 2010s poll odds in 2020's product. Probably the last time we'll ever have these type of poll odds. I think people are going to talk themselves into it. I already talked myself into it, even though you talked me out, Phil. I wouldn't have opened the product really regardless. But I think it's a fun little twist to Top Series 2. And I think fun little twist with Top's marketing engine, they can make a product hyped up, even if it's not really deserving. And you pulled into some great points, Phil, around it. But let's like the other big ones you talked about, 2018, 2019 were the biggest Series 2. Everything else has been kind of meh, maybe 2022.
We're gonna
Julio, but
so Chris Bryant, that was 2015. So is that back a decade? That was a big deal, right? 2015 Series 2 at the time.
I wasn't in 2015, so
I don't remember a ton. I think Flagship was still viewed kind of as trash back then. By trash, I mean like nobody is going to the store to buy all the shelves of Flagship. Like,
well, it's still trash though.
Yeah, it's just different type of trash now.
It just costs a little bit more.
Yeah. I see both your points. I think it's going to be a fun product. I think it's going to be a hype product. But to Phil's point, yeah, there's not a lot of big names that we know of so far. That could change over the first couple months, how that goes with people's starts the season. And also the fact that from when we first brought it up, there's a lot of people that reminded us in the comments that they don't even know what the black parallel is. So
that's my issue too, Jeff.
That kept me from giving it a 5. Yeah.
After voting 5 and hearing Phil talk, I'm like, on top of that, our viewers truly did not care as much as I thought they would. So maybe for Scott Baldwin, this is the most I personally care about a Series 2 release, but that doesn't mean that anybody else will, which is true.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good choice. You got all of us to spread. I thought we were all going to be high. Phil, I like that you had a different perspective. Okay. And this next one is I like what Topps did with the parallels in Top Series 1. I like it. You like the new format of Top Series 1. You like the changes. You can have the hindsight of the black in Series 2.
Okay, so knowing black is coming back.
Yeah, you like the changes that Topps did in Series 1. I don't even know what I'm going to vote, to be honest. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm a coward.
You guys both went in the middle? Come on.
I'm a coward. So I like some stuff. I love that they kept some of the parallels, like the black and the clear. I like that a lot. I do like the Independence Day still there. That's a big win to have those 3. Those are like the 3 parallels I really will still buy today in 2025, every year it is. I don't like some of the other parallels. I do like the standardization across all sets, but I hate how they have like 3 different golds. Just have 1 gold foil. Don't have 3 gold foils if you're going to make it standardized. So they have like 1 in retail, 1 in hobby, and they're both numbered to 50, right? Or am I crazy? Like there's one that's like atomic looking and then one that's a foil pattern. They're both numbered to 50. So like if they did that and they made it really just 1 of each, then I would have been a bigger fan of it. But because they did that, I can't really go higher than a 3.
Yeah, I like the standardization. I think that is a step in the right direction, especially once we know that there are going to be some exceptions like the black parallel coming back. The fact that the clear was there was a surprise a little bit because that seemed like that was going to be gone, right? I mean,
I'm glad the clear's. Am I the only one that likes the clear?
No, I like the clear. Cool. I'm glad it's back. So yeah, but I'm not a huge fan of the canvas. The wood looks pretty cool. The James Wood wood.
Yeah, cool.
So overall, I'd say it's a step in the right direction. Still a lot of parallels, but we know that's not going backwards. We know they're not going back to the days of 10 parallels.
So this will be a full circle moment. Do you like the black out of 10?
Not really. I mean, I've seen one. It looked pretty good, I guess, but I just think they'll be too tough to find to be extremely sought after. I like the chrome out of 10.
What do you think the red out of 5? I think will those be collected? Do we care about the reds out of 5 in flagship paper? Because no one's really talking about it, but those are huge in Topps Chrome, but no one seems to care about the red out of 5.
Color match, maybe your Ellie. I don't know.
What are you thinking, Phil?
I think well, just to give my score. So I said 3. As a business move, I think it's probably a 5, since they're taking on other sports, they're taking on additional licenses, and they've got to create something that just makes sense across the board, and then just figure out a standard. And then from here on out, yeah, they can add things here and there, but they have to have their core parallels, their core rainbows figured out, right? Mm-hmm. And with this, I don't know if the Real One autograph is part of this, because there are parallels of that. I'll talk about it a little bit, but that's a big deal. And we'll talk about this probably on one of the next episodes, or maybe it comes out before. I'm not sure. But yeah, those autographs in low numbered form are going for a lot. And that's cool. And the baseball hobby right now, because the basketball and football versions aren't out yet. So that'll be interesting. And to them, on-card autographs will be somewhat new to a lot of people. But it looks like there's a massive premium right now on the auto versus the non-auto. If you look at cards like the Black Rainbow, Black Platinum Rainbow Foil number to 10, there's an autograph version, I think, in a non-auto. The second year Skeens did $1,000 that was autographed. It has a gold cup on it. I consider that to be a really, really strong sale. So that's really cool. I think as someone who opens a product, the fact that the odd sheet is 10 pages long, and if you do Control F for gold, and it comes up 51 times, and one of those references golden mirrors, so there's 50 different gold parallels. If you're opening a product that has 1.3 million base cards, you need that many parallels, and people still can't pull serialized cards. People are still complaining on Blowout. My friend just opened a bunch of hobby blasters, etc. He's I only got one hit, and it wasn't even numbered. That comes with the territory, right? It's going to be tough. As a singles buyer, I'm sort of indifferent, right? Maybe a 1 or a 2. So that's where I come in the middle of 3. There's so much, right? And it kind of goes back to, as we talked about when we did our series 1 video, what's the parallel to buy if you're trying to whatever you call it, invest or park money or just collect one player. We don't know what it is. Having said that, though, got to give them a little bit of credit with the Independence Day parallel. 2020, 2021, 2022, they were absolute trash. I think, was it? No, 2021, 21, 22, and 23
were the worst.
That's when it was absolutely horrible. 2020, blah. Last year, they started to turn it around. And this year, I think they built on last year's design. And one of the changes they made is they put the stars on the left side of the card. So it's more like the American flag. So good job with the Independence Day parallel. I guess a 3. There are definitely some things I like about what they did. At the end of the day, it's flagship. It's an accessible product. If kids can't afford it, this is the one that's supposed to go out to the masses. So it'll be the parents of the kids that'll hopefully buy the product for the kids. And this is the one that you should be able to find easily in the store. There should always be an abundance of it. And you're not opening it to gain a ton of money. It's flagship, right? You're not going to get rich from opening flagship, even if you hit one of the big cards in most cases.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's hard as someone who doesn't open a lot of product as a decision, a conscious decision. Not that I don't like it. I love opening product. I bought one hanger, a box of flagship series 1, and I burnt $15, to be fully transparent. It was just that was fun, but I see why I don't buy wax. It's fun in the moment, and then you just lose $15. But Like there's cards like this that are very interesting to me. And I think there probably is opportunity in Top Series 1. Not saying this card, but like, would it surprise you if a Schwellenbach is a really good pitcher in the future? I know he had a great year last year. This is his true red out of 5 for $200, your best offer. Like, he's not saying you should buy this again, but it's one of those things where no one knows what to do. And I think eventually it'll shake out in some way. So it's interesting trying to guess. Because we have that red. We have here's another Trout red. Here's like the cracked ice red I was talking about. Like, I don't know what's more desirable. Obviously, the Diamante, if that's what it's called, is better looking. But this one is like supposed to be like the true red out of hobby and stuff. So I have no idea.
Yeah, the hanger exclusive stuff, even if it looks better, history would show that you should probably not go for that one.
Yeah.
But if it looks a lot better and everybody agrees, then who knows? And then you have to think about some of these are actually hobby exclusive. Probably not the red that you just showed, but there are like some subsets on their odds sheet where like the lowest numbered best colors, like orange and better or gold and better, might have been orange and better. Those were hobby exclusive, and all the other stuff you could find it and everything. But I think that might have been like the Rickwood and some of the other things. Not like
those Rickwood patches are sick, by the way. I'm a big fan of those. I bought a Goldschmidt, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of buying a hobby box, I bought the Rickwood with those jerseys. I'll actually show it real quick. Let me show it so people know what I'm talking about. What Topps did, the Rickwood Field game, they took all the jerseys the players wore in that game and then created memorabilia and jersey autographs from that particular set. So you know exactly what game it's from, the photography's from that particular game, and even the design is black and white. So it is a pretty cool thing that they did. I just need to find one. I know there was a red one here. Do those interest you guys at all?
So the design is black and white, but the patch is color, obviously.
Yeah, but like they try to make it feel like
Very
so this
cool.
is Mason when he had a good game. I think he had a home run this game, but this was his rookie year. He wore this jersey in a rookie year in the Rickwood Field game, where like some of the best black baseball players played. It's on card autograph. It's exactly tied to the Rickwood Field game, which is cool. On the back, it even says it. The relic in this card from uniform worn during the 2024 MLB at Rickwood Field. Like that's cool. This is a huge.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Topps isn't talking about. So I bought a blue Goldschmidt at 150. The 1/1 was listed for $90, and I was going to buy it because I have an alert set. Someone beat me to it. So
that doesn't seem too bad for 1/1. Your
no,
guy.
It was, and plus it's like the jersey's from. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So these are pretty cool. And these were, and I think, Phil, you kind of alluded to this in regards to the Real One autographs. We'll talk about that next episode very first. But these Rickwood Field, and same with Real One autographs, it's a very small rainbow. It's the traditional rainbow. And I kind of wish they'd stick to it. But of course, because it is so overly printed and the goal is to be accessible, I get why there's more, even though I don't like it as the person in the secondary market. So
yeah. So we actually covered this before, and it's confusing. That's probably why I forgot. But I was just looking at the odds sheet, and I think Scott, you probably alluded to this, but with the colors, there's a retail exclusive version, there's a hobby exclusive version, and then there's the hanger exclusive.
Yes, so there's like 3 reds of every single one, 3 gold in every single set.
Right, so 100.
So that red you showed was probably the hollow foil, which is exclusive to all retail.
For Schwellenbach.
Yeah, but if it was the red rainbow and not the red hollow foil, then it would be hobby exclusive. So anything with rainbow in it would be hobby exclusive.
Bro, I have no idea what's going on.
It's too easy to get lost down that rabbit hole for sure.
We like love baseball cards, and even we're confused.
Okay, but it's not all rainbow stuff. It's just like the lowest numbered rainbow stuff. So
the gold, orange,
blue rainbow is hobby exclusive too, and green. But aqua is not hobby exclusive, and neither is like the base foil board. Yeah, man,
once they're above 150, it can be anywhere.
But all the true colors have 3 variations.
I think so.
How do we feel? Do we still feel the same way? Are we less of a fan now?
No, I mean they have to do it.
Yes,
I kind of and if you really look at the odds list and like the hobby folks did get a bunch of stuff that's exclusive to them. So like the whole like uproar about people that are getting massive hits in retail boxes, like they're getting away from that by doing a lot of this, and they're incentivizing you to spend a little bit more on the product. You're going to pay a little bit more per card, but you're going to have a much greater chance at autographs, and of course a greater chance at these more expensive hits, whether they're autos or not. So that's kind of good. You're given something to everybody, but you can still get a lot of good stuff in blasters if you get really, really lucky in other retail formats as well.
So this is a fun exercise to do. And I'm interested to see, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want to ask another question. Here's Top Series 1 from 2015, so 10 years ago. The numbered cards we had, and the rainbow foils this year are incredibly hard to find. Like, they are very rare. They were very short printed. Like, I bet if we go look at Francisco Lindor rainbow foil, I know he's an update. How many are there? Like $120, and they go for a pretty good 45. So that's probably where they're going to sit. There's only 22 listed. Like, they're pretty rare cards. But now, where was that? I have so many tabs open right here. But for numbered parallels, we had gold, snow camo, black, pink, framed, 1/1. It's amazing how much we've changed in 10 years. So I guess my question for you, what's going to happen in 2035 Series 1? Is there going to be just more, or do you think there's going to be less interest in cards at that point, so it'll revert back a little bit?
There's got to be a tipping point at some point. I don't know if we're there yet. I would like to think that it would not be worse than it is now in terms of numbers of parallels, but maybe that's just.
Are we at like the peak of baseball cards right now? Because like if we don't think it can get worse, that means we're at the top.
Well, maybe it can get worse, but I'm thinking sometime the sanity will prevail between now and 2035.
What do you think, Phil?
I don't know. There's so many factors, and it leads me to something a little bit unrelated to what you asked.
Say it.
That I will go to because I don't want to answer your question.
Answer my question. Just say yes or no. 2025 more, 2035 more or less parallels. Just say yes or no there.
Less.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people were wondering what would happen to the value of their Prism stuff or value of their top stuff, you know, when Fanatics took over. Like, are the card values going to go up? Is this stuff before they took over going to go up? You know, what if they end up buying Panini, or if they don't end up buying Panini, like, will that go up or will that go down? What's going to happen to like this insert if they don't make it anymore? What's going to happen to just their effects of growing the hobby, right? Are they going to make all cards go up? Even the overprinted stuff in the past, right? Because the overprinting didn't just start when Fanatics took over. And I think, you know, that it's like a humble reminder. I don't know if it's humble, but it's a reminder that Fanatics can be here and they can not be here. And it won't affect a lot of us that are singles collectors, right?
Yeah.
The values are going to be okay if Fanatics ends up failing 10 years from now, 15 years from now. We're going to be okay, just like we were okay and we didn't get like an absurd amount of help when Fanatics came in to boost the secondary market values of our stuff, right? You can make the argument that they prevented them from falling more, maybe, but I don't think so. So I think, yeah. So having said that, 2035, unfortunately, it won't be a good sign for the hobby if they're printing a lot less flagship. That might be what has to happen in order for them to make less parallels than they are today. You know what I mean? Because like if they're not selling a lot of flagship, it means that there's not a whole lot of like true collectors left, right? This is like one of the few products that is really geared towards the collector. Yes, you can buy it in break format on live selling apps from Fanatics Live app, but this is the product that like hooks. This is like the gateway drug to get new people into the hobby, and for the casual collectors, right, that aren't just in it for like the dopamine hit, right? This would be like the one product that's not for that audience. And Topps Heritage could be another.
1 million base cards. 1 million base cards of every card. Crazy.
So in comparison, I'm not going to actually say the player's name, but players in 2014 Topps update, they had Topps Chrome update, I should say. They had 12,000 base cards. That's it. 12,000 total base cards for those players in that 50 card set. One format, 2 cards per pack per mega box, 5 retail base Topps update packs, 2 Chrome packs, 12,000. Now we're looking at 100, like over 500,000 Chrome base cards. It's crazy how much it's changed.
Yeah.
Am I just old now? Is this what it feels like, guys? Oh, okay. Well, anything else you want to add? This is turning into a pretty long episode. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know in the comments down below if you're interested in chats kind of like this. To be honest, we're going to get more specific on our opinions on this stuff. And that's what we would probably do geared more in that Spitballin membership. So if you have interest in that, let us know in the comments down below. If there's enough interest, we'll start it probably later, probably March if it works out. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.